Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Daily Betslip. Myself, Peter, Dewey. We got a jam-packed show. It's all Major League Baseball today because that is the only thing going on. We got Game of the Night, Mets, Braves. We got Bad Beat from last night. We got community picks. We are also going to talk a little NFL. We're going to give out our picks for offensive and defensive Rookie of the Year. But to get things started off, I do have to say this is one of my most favorite times of the sports calendar. Football season, no. One of my favorite times is when the Yankees go on their inevitable bad stretch of games and all their fans are screaming like the world is ending. I have one of those fans joining me today. Peter, are the Yankees done? We talked about this a little bit last week, but the Yankees have gotten even worse since then. Are they done?
I've been saying to you for weeks now, they're not winning the World Series. This team is not good enough to win a World Series. The injuries aren't helping. If DJ LeMahieu also goes on the IL, they're just going to be extremely thin in that lineup that has been bad. I mean, I saw a stat today, since their series against the Astros, they're 19-23. Been a below 500 team for basically a month and a half at this point. The vibes are low. Fun levels are low. Everything is low right now with the Yankees.
No sports fan base, I don't think, gets more upset than the Yankees when their team is on a bad stretch. It's truly hilarious to see it because it happens at least for a couple of weeks once every season, and they start calling for the manager to get fired. They start to trade everyone, release everyone. The team stinks. Ben Heisler says, stick a fork in them. Yes, last year at one point I famously said to stick a fork in the Yankees, their season is done. I think it's about time that we should consider saying that. This losing streak is lasting a long time. I will say, though, I did predict the Blue Jays would pass the Yankees in the AL East standings by August 29th. It's not going to happen. Unfortunately, the Blue Jays have been just as bad as the Yankees, but just no one's talking about them. The Yankees are taking a lot of the headlines away from the Blue Jays, so I am thankful for that. My prediction will not come true. They've run out of time to pass the Yankees, unfortunately.
The issue with the Yankees is obviously fans have high expectations, but it's also just like everybody else has high expectations. Like if the Yankees don't win the World Series, like they get clowned. Like that's just the way it is. Like, oh, you guys haven't won a World Series since 2009. So anytime you have a team like the way this year's team started, where you're like, okay, this is like a championship caliber team, to watch it fall apart over the past couple months where they just look like a 500 baseball team, it's just frustrating because you know you're going to get flack from every single fan base. It's just what comes with being a Yankee fan.
I love just searching Yankees on Twitter and just going through the timeline of Yankees fans tweeting with them. It's hilarious. But let's move on. Let's talk about, by the way, I said we are going to give out our picks for NFL offensive and defensive Rookie of the Year. If you take a close look at the screen in front of you, you're probably going to be able to guess who Peter is picking for his offensive Rookie of the Year. But more on that later. Let's start off with Bad Beat of the Night. And Peter, I believe you have one in Major League Baseball from last night that went down.
Yeah, brutal beat last night. If you were on the Pirates, who were pretty big underdogs against the San Francisco Giants, took the lead 7-6 in the top half of the ninth inning, only to give up a walk-off two-run homer to former Yankee Thairo Estrada, his first walk-off homer of his career. So really tough. It's especially, I feel like, Ian, when you put, money on a pretty big dog and you get, that late comeback, you're like, oh my gosh, like I called it, this is going to cash. Then to get it ripped away from you, literally the very next half inning is so tough.
Yeah, that's the risk you take betting on bad teams because those are the kind of things that bad teams allow to happen. So yeah, that was Bad Beat of the Night. Let's get into some best bets. As always, we have community picks that we got to get through. A lot of great ones today, actually. We have 5 submissions today. I wish we could have done more because there was a lot of great ones submitted into us today. But we got 5 to get through. If you are watching this, head over to YouTube. If you live comment your pick, we'll bring it up as well. So if you tweeted at us earlier and you don't see your tweet, just comment in the YouTube live chat and we'll bring it up and talk about it. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. MLP_Sabres. Spade Heart Club. What a name. O's to smash the money line in the spread against the Jays. Not a good start for me. How rude. Going to bet against my Blue Jays right off the bat, but to be honest, I'll never argue against fading the Blue Jays when Yusei Kikuchi gets the start. I didn't like the signing in the offseason. I like it even worse now. I will say one quick thing about this game is that if you want to bet on a player to hit a home run tonight, take a Baltimore Oriole because Kikuchi's giving up an average of 2.1 home runs per 9 innings, one of the worst marks in Major League Baseball. I think both of us in the Daily Dinger piece on BetSide, I think we're both on Orioles today, aren't we?
Yeah, I took Mountcastle. Who would you end up taking?
The catcher, how do you pronounce his last name?
Rutschman. Like it.
Yeah. So, and I believe you have a pick for this game as well in a little bit, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I like the sentiment here from MLP.
Does seem a lot of people are fading the Jays, but it's probably what are the Jays like 6-12 in Kikuchi starts or 5-12?
6-13. It's really bad. He's been brutal, man. I mean, there's just like I don't even know if it's anything on their it's not their offense's fault. It's not the fault. He's just been brutal.
Just bad. All right, let's bring up the second community pick from his username is just Dot, but his is at the Aga Muxa. Don't know what that means or stands for, but he says the White Sox plus 115 since July 20th. Houston 21st in WRC plus versus right-handed pitchers. Chicago White Sox 7th. Urquidy 4.83 road ERA plus 5.737 ERA versus right-handed batters. White Sox lineup is nearly entirely right-handed batters. I have a pick for this game. It'll be along the similar lines with a little bit of a twist to it, but I certainly like that pick for a lot of those reasons. Great breakdown, by the way. A lot of the picks sent into us today had some breakdowns with them. I love that. It certainly makes our job a lot easier. Peter, any thoughts on Astros against White Sox today?
Yeah, I don't mind fading Urquidy, and I know the Astros, they're great against left-handed pitching, but they're not as great against right-handed pitching. So Johnny Cueto's actually been very solid this year. I kind of came out of nowhere. He's been pretty solid for the White Sox is later in his career. So I don't mind this at all. There's a lot of dogs, I think, on today's slate that I liked. So I think there's plenty of places to take a shot on one.
Yeah, lot of it's a good slate for a lot of underdogs tonight, I think. And then, of course, favorites are probably go undefeated tonight. But yeah, Johnny Cueto, shout out to him, 2.91 ERA so far this season. Nobody's really giving him the respect he deserves this season late in his career. Let's go ahead and bring up the third community pick for tonight. We got 5 today. Michael Campbell going the opposite way on this game, though. At not Michael 85 says Astros money line minus 125. White Sox are 3-7 in game 1 of their last 10 series. Does that make a difference? Do teams play differently in the first game? Do they need time to adjust? And then they play better later in the series, or is that a meaningless trend? Thoughts, Peter?
I think it depends on the starting pitching matchups. Like, I'd have to go back and look through, but like if Dylan Cease started game 1 of every single White Sox series, like they're probably winning that game. So if they're pitching, if it's their 5th starter that has just unfortunately came up in the game 1 of a bunch of ones, that can kind of skew that stat. So I'd stay away from like trusting that as the reason for making the bet, basically.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's like the same trend that people say, like a team is like 10-2 in their last 12 games played on a Wednesday. It's like, are Wednesdays any different than any other day? Yeah. I mean, maybe game 1's a little bit different, but I think it matters more about pitching matchup and things like that. So we got 2 community picks on opposite sides tonight, which is not something we see very often. Let's go ahead and bring up the next one. Brian at Chiefs fan in LA. Dodgers on the alternate run line of minus 2.5. Brian's getting aggressive with this one. They're on the road, so get that 9th inning at bat with Urias on pitching. I also like Dodgers first 5 minus 0.5. I have a bet for this game. I'll get into it in a bit. Do you have any thoughts on Dodgers?
Yeah, I don't mind going crazy with the Dodgers here a little bit. Like if you really want to get aggressive, this is probably the team to do it. They've been insane. Over their last 25 games, they have a better positive run differential than I believe it's 24 other teams in Major League Baseball, which is absolutely insane. So if you're going to get aggressive with a team, it's probably the Dodgers. Don't mind taking them on this hot streak. But again, Freddie Peralta didn't pitch too bad for Milwaukee in his last start. So that's the only thing that's kind of holding me back from personally taking that bet.
Ben Heisler chimes in on this game, and then him and Cody Williams have some other comments we'll get to, but he does chime in on this game. We'll stay on topic for now. He says Brewers are winning on the money line tonight and Peralta clearing his strikeout prop. I have a pick for this game. I'm going to ruin it a little bit. Ben, we're on opposite sides tonight. I'll talk about it when I get to that pick, but I mean, maybe Freddie Peralta's, I mean, he's looked a little bit better since his return from injury. I mean, you got to kind of lean on him if you're going with the Brewers. But yeah, Ben and I, opposite sides tonight. One of us will be guaranteed a winner. Well, unless the Dodgers win by 1, then we both lose. But a lot of comments in the chat here, both from Ben and Cody Williams. They must have heard the ice cream truck that was outside my window. It has made multiple appearances on this show and on Green on the Greens. It has become my mortal enemy. Cody says, pick me up a drumstick. Ben says, see if they have any Choco tacos. Could be a collector's item now. I'm moving out of here at the end of the month. I've still not bought anything from the ice cream truck, even though it passes by my window 85 times a day. I need to go out and get some kind of treat before I move at the end of the month. Shout out to the ice cream truck. It's been a recurring guest on the show.
Yeah, you got it before. Maybe when as you're moving the last year stuff out, you just grab an item for the road. There you go.
Perfect. What a way to cap off a year in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Let's bring up the fourth. I think we're on the 4th or 5th pick. Whatever the next pick is, bring it up.
Yeah.
Benny, third and Ben. This is the final pick here. Brewers team total under 3.5. He says they haven't been able to hit lefties at all since the break with the WRC plus under 80. Lineup has poor numbers against Urias too. Also correlates to the Dodgers minus 1.5 at even money. Yeah, that's a lot of the reasons why I kind of like the Dodgers tonight as well. So to Ben's point earlier, Ben is on the Brewers, going to disagree with that one, but hey, maybe Freddie Peralta does clean up with the strikeout department, because most of the reasons why I'm going against the Brewers tonight is because they can't hit lefties, and they're going up against one of the hottest lefties in Major League Baseball, and Julio Urias. Still haven't figured out how to pronounce his last name.
I'm pretty sure it's Urias, but
Urias?
Yeah.
Stop. No, it's not. Stop. Now you're just being silly. All right, let's get to our best bets for tonight. We have 6 picks, 3 each, and all of them are Major League Baseball. But then, of course, at the end of the show, we'll give out our best bets for the game of the night tonight as well, which is the New York Mets against the Atlanta Braves. Let's just go back and forth. I may as well go ahead and start with my first one. Why don't we just start, if we can? I know we don't have, this isn't the order, but why don't we just go ahead and start with the Dodgers, because that's the game that we're talking about right now. So Dodgers minus 1.5. I believe is the Sox fan. I believe I am on this with him as well, because like I said earlier, I just don't see any reason how you can back the Brewers in this one, like the points that have been brought up by the community picks there. And this is something I've been saying almost every show whenever I talk with the Brewers. Do not bet on the Brewers when they face left-handed pitchers. Since July 1st, against right-handed pitchers, they have an OPS of 805, which ranks second in Major League Baseball. Against left-handed pitchers in that same time span, they have an OPS of 611. That ranks 27th. So it seems like a pretty clear strategy when betting on games involving the Brewers. Bet on them when they face righties, bet against them when they face lefties. And like I just said, they're facing one of the best lefties in Major League Baseball as of late, in Julio Urias. How'd you pronounce it?
I said Urias. That's what I think it is. Yeah.
I don't think it is, but I would trust you over me when it comes to pronunciation. He has allowed only 4 earned runs in his last 33 innings pitched. I think Dodgers win big. I was tempted to actually go minus 2.5 and get aggressive, but you can still get the run line at even money. I think you can do it. Now, if you're going to come back and say Freddie Peralta is going to have a good game, I won't argue against that. He certainly could. Maybe he'll hit a strikeout total, but just I don't see how their offense is going to score many runs against this Dodgers team. And Dodgers also have a pretty significant advantage when it comes to the bullpen as well. So I will back the Dodgers on the run line. It's a square play, but this has been one of the most profitable bets in all of Major League Baseball this season. So it seems square, but it continues to cash. Dodgers run line tonight.
Listen, getting the Dodgers at even money. I think I took them last week in one of their wins over the Twins where they were like plus 110. I was just like, anytime you can get their run line, which is crazy to think about. If you can get their run line at plus money right now, like that is huge, because they're so favored in every single game. Like, I feel like there's some value on this. I know the Brewers are a playoff caliber team, but you made the point, like, they're just not good against lefties, so can't lay it with them.
I think they're going to storm through the postseason too. I think it's going to be one of the easiest World Series wins of all time from start to finish for the Dodgers. They're just too good.
They are very good.
All right, hit me up with your first MLB pick for tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to stick in the NL West. I'm going to take my player prop, Joe Musgrove, over 5.5.
Is that Max Verstappen outside your window right now?
There's a motorcycle, something going by. Somebody's flying by. They did not like the Joe Musgrove pick. Joe Musgrove over 5.5 strikeouts tonight. Going up against the Miami Marlins. This is actually, I think, the best pitching matchup of the night. Is Joe Musgrove against Sandy Alcantara. So that's a fun game if you like pitchers duels to watch. But you look at the Marlins over the last month, and they're 29th in OPS, 30th in runs scored. They've struck out the 6th most times in Major League Baseball. They're averaging over 8.67 strikeouts per game on the season. This offense stinks. They have a ton of injuries, so some of this isn't their fault. But they're now 15 games below 500. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Joe Musgrove, 20 starts this year, 14 times he struck out 6 or more batters. I think this is just a perfect storm kind of for him. They're facing a team that strikes out a lot, young team. And obviously this is going to be a pitcher's duel. So the Padres are going to need him to kind of step up against Alcantara. So I like him over 5.5 strikeouts.
Okay, I like that pick. I will say another game, maybe not the best game in terms of teams' records, but another great pitching matchup tonight. Luis Castillo against Shohei Ohtani in a Mariners against Angels game tonight. So a couple of good matchups tonight, to be honest. We actually struggle a little bit finding game of the night tonight because there are some good ones on the slate tonight. So Joe Musgrove over 5.5 strikeouts as Formula One Connecticut version goes outside your window there. All right, I will give my next pick here. I'll go with the one that was at the first of my list, and that is the Chicago White Sox. In the first 5 innings against the Astros at plus 105, I know one of the community picks were the White Sox to win outright. I will go first 5 innings instead because the Astros, and you said this too, Pete, they do dominate lefties, but today's game is a battle of righties between Jose Urquidy and Johnny Cueto. Dating back to July 1st, White Sox ranked 12th in OPS against right-handed pitchers. Astros ranked 14th. And also Cueto went 7 innings, only allowing 2 hits and 0 earned runs when he last faced the Astros back on June 18th. Now, the reason why I'm going first 5 innings is because the Astros do have the much better bullpen. So I will hopefully take the bullpen out of the equation by sticking to the first 5 innings. But offensive and starting pitching matchup, I think both those advantages go to the White Sox. I'll take them at plus 105 in the first 5.
Yeah, I don't mind that play at all. Also, Chicago really needs some of these games, man. The NL Central, the Guardians are starting to pull away a little bit. They kind of need some wins here to get back in it.
And they need some wins because they take on the Astros now, and I think they take on the Braves in their next series as well. So pretty pivotal stretch for the Chicago White Sox. All right, hit me up with your second MLB pick for tonight's slate.
Yeah, the second one I'm fading your Jays. I'm sorry, Ian. I'm taking the Orioles on the money line in this one. I just talked about good pitching matchups. This is a terrible pitching matchup. We got Yusei Kikuchi against Kyle Bradish. Both guys have over 5 ERAs. But I will give Kyle Bradish credit. He's allowed just 6 runs over his last 3 starts, pitched 15 and a third innings. It's not great, but he's given up 1, 2, and 3 runs in those 3 starts. So he's been decent, serviceable, where the O's have been able to win a couple of those starts. You look at Kikuchi, we talked about this at the top of the show. The Jays are 6 and 13 in his starts, and he is being super prone to the long ball. He's given up 18 homers in 19 starts. He gave up 3 the last time these two teams faced last week. Back on August 8th. And so I honestly don't mind the over 2 here in this game, but I just think there's more value in taking the O's to win. I think they're the better team because of the pitching staff. Obviously the offense, I'd give the edge to the Jays, but in this particular matchup, I'd take the Orioles starter. I'd take their bullpen over taking the Jays. And then the other thing I think that's interesting here is sorry about this. The Kikuchi's only pitched past the 5th inning in 4 starts this whole season. So I think you're asking a lot from the Jays bullpen if they have to pitch, even if it is a close game early, if they're going to have to pitch 4 or 5 innings. Meanwhile, the O's have the 3rd best bullpen ERA in the league. So give me the O's tonight. The money line dog. I love betting on them as short dogs, especially in a matchup like this.
Yeah, like I said earlier at the start of the show, if you're fading the Blue Jays in any other scenario, I would get offended. I will not when you're fading UC Kikuchi. How about this little bet? Baltimore Orioles first 5 team total over 1.5 at -170. You mentioned Kikuchi hasn't lasted past 5 innings in a while. All they need to do is score 2 runs against him cash. It is -170, but there's still some value there, I think. How about that for a little bet?
I like that a lot. That's a
I
good
might
find.
I might lock that in right now. All right, I will get to my final MLB pick until we get to the game of the night later. And I got a full game underdog here. I'm going to go with the Arizona Diamondbacks, which I'm sure our producer Joanne will like to hear, her being a Diamondbacks fan, and I have trashed the Diamondbacks several times this season. I am going to back them this time, though, because I think when you are handicapping Major League Baseball, there's 3 things that you need to look at if you're just doing a basic handicap. One is obviously starting pitching matchup. The other 2 are offense and how the bullpens match up. And I think the Diamondbacks have the significant advantage in at least 2 of those 3 categories, but yet they're plus 165 underdogs. I truly don't understand that. If you look at their offense, since July 1st, 9th in OPS, the San Francisco Giants all the way down at 20th. During the same time frame, you look at their bullpen, Diamondbacks rank 17th, not great, but not many teams. Actually, only one team is worse in that category than the Giants because they rank 29th in bullpen ERA dating back to July 1st. Now, the starting pitching matchup between Bumgarner and Cobb, little bit of a wash. To be honest, I probably would give the slight advantage to Cobb because Bumgarner has been bad, especially as of late. But you can't argue with the fact that Diamondbacks have the advantage in 2 of those 3 basic categories you should look at, but yet they're plus 165 underdogs. I'll take a shot on them to beat the Giants tonight. I think the Giants are overrated, especially their bullpen. Their bullpen stinks. They could be up 3 runs heading into like the 6th inning or 7th inning, and I still would kind of have confidence in the Diamondbacks here. So give me Arizona plus 165.
I don't mind that at all. There's like 6 or 7 underdogs tonight, and like you said, like they're probably they'll all lose, but like there's like 6 or 7 underdogs I considered today. I know the Marlins were one, the Diamondbacks were another one, the White Sox were another one. So I don't mind this at all. Especially because the Giants bullpen has been so bad. Like if they don't have a crazy edge, like if Logan Webber-Rodon isn't pitching, you're kind of just like, okay, if I can keep it close through like 5-6 innings,
right,
they might just blow up.
Yeah. So there you go. Those are my 3 best bets. I still have a pick for the Braves Mets game coming up at the end of the show. But Peter, you got one more best bet to go. Hit me with it. I believe you are on another underdog.
Yes, I'm on another underdog. This one just in the first 5 innings. Looking at the A's-Rangers matchup, I'm taking the A's in the first 5 innings, plus 130. This is a complete fade of Glenn Otto, the starter for the Rangers. He has been downright awful over the last couple months. The Rangers are 1-8 in his last 9 starts. He has a 5.85 ERA since the start of June. And the bigger thing here is I've talked about him on the show a couple of times. He is one of the worst pitchers in baseball at home, which is so weird for a young pitcher, but you have to fade him. He has a 6.69 ERA at home this year. Opponents are hitting 275 against him. His whip is 1.56 at home, which is insanity. So I'm fading him here. He's facing James Kaprielian. The funny part about this, Ian, is this is 2 former Yankees prospects going up against each other. So classic here. But Kaprielian, over his last 9 starts, he's allowed 3 or fewer runs in all 9 of them. The A's are 6-2 in his last 8 starts. I just don't want to worry about the bullpen for Oakland here. I don't want to worry about the bullpen, honestly, for either team. I think Kaprielian's a much better starter. I think first 5 A's can jump on, and it's plus money either way. If you want to take him for the full game, you can still do that. But I'm just going to fade Glenn Otto until he's not in the rotation anymore.
Dogs are barking tonight, my friend. A lot of underdogs. Let's hope they come through for us. I have apparently a mobile concert now driving by my window.
There we go.
I don't know if can you hear that little Biggie Smalls?
Yeah, what a day.
Very fitting. Hey,
what a day for the streets. The streets of Stanford and the streets of Brooklyn. They're out here. They're making an appearance on the show.
Isn't Biggie Smalls a Brooklyn guy too? Very fitting.
He is, yeah.
Probably the only artist I'll allow to be blasted outside my window is Biggie Smalls. I'll allow it. All right, we do have a recap graphic to bring up here in case you missed some of our earlier picks. I am on the White Sox in the first 5 innings. against the Astros. That is at plus 105. We got the Dodgers minus 1.5 against the Brewers. That's at even money. And then the Diamondbacks, full game money line plus 165 against the Giants. And then, Peter, you got Joe Musgrove over 5.5 strikeouts at minus 135. Orioles on the full game money line against the Jays plus 135. And A's first 5 inning money line against the Rangers at plus 130.
Yes, sir.
If we weren't able to get to your community pick that you tweeted into us and you are watching the show, feel free to comment it in the chat and we will still bring it up before the end of the show. But next we are going to switch gears and talk a little National Football League. Really quick, Peter, any takeaways after the first full week of the preseason?
Yeah, the preseason stinks, man. They should just not play good players in the preseason. I hate seeing it, like Zach Wilson. I know your guy Drake won. I hate seeing these potential like season-ending injuries to good players. I know these guys have to tune up. Like, you can't just walk in and play football. I get that. But it's just so tough to watch these games and you're on edge the entire time that some of these best players are going to get hurt. Like, not even just for my own teams, for the entire league. Like, the last thing I want to do is see like a Patrick Mahomes tear his ACL and he's out for the year. Like, nobody wants that. So that's my take on the preseason.
Yeah, the absolute worst. And all the preseason does when I watch it just makes you wish for regular season. Mm-hmm. I will say my big takeaway that the overs hit 14-3 this week. I did kind of think that might happen. I wrote an article about it last week just because everyone knows the under trend. And when everyone jumps on a trend, sportsbooks adjust heavily. And the average total in week 1 was 33.5. So I knew some. I had a feeling overs we're gonna have a good week. I didn't, to be honest. I didn't think they're gonna go 14-3 though. And if you teased every over, I think you would have cashed every single one too. So overs are big in week 1. We'll see if that trend continues in week 2. But let's talk rookies. Let's talk our picks for offensive and defensive rookie of the year. We're going to start with offensive rookie of the year. I'm going to guess I'm not going to be shocked by your pick, Peter. Go ahead and give it to me.
Yeah, I'm taking Dameon Pierce to win the rookie of the year. Dameon Pierce, stand up. This is a guy I'm definitely looking to target in fantasy too. Houston Texans 4th round pick. It's plus 2,000, so you get a little bit of value here. And when we look at rookie of the year, I think you have to look at volume. I think last year, when it came down to Mac Jones or Jamar Chase, it really just came down to Jamar Chase was the highest volume receiver, and Mac Jones was the quarterback on the best team. But a lot of the other quarterbacks, Zach Wilson missed games, Trey Lance didn't play every game, where they just didn't have the volume and the full body of work to kind of make a case to win rookie of the year. Same thing with Justin Fields. This year it's a quarterback weak class. I don't know if Kenny Pickett starts week 1. If he does, he's going to obviously be the favorite, but he's still got an uphill battle to face there. Malik Willis probably isn't going to start, maybe not even play this year. So I think you have to now you're looking at secondary positions. Dameon Pierce, if the Texans actually care about trying to win football games, he's by far their best back. They have Marlon Mack and Rex Burkhead in that backfield, but it's 2 veterans who Marlon Mack's coming off an Achilles injury. Rex Burkhead, like, we know what he is. Pierce was also great in the first preseason game. He had 5 carries for 49 yards, looked really explosive. Like, I think if Houston really wants to like make some kind of step this year, he's going to be like a 20 carries a game type of guy. And yeah, they might not be a good team, but he's going to put up the counting numbers where I think that can get him an offensive rookie of the year.
I like that pick quite a bit, to be honest. I think if you're going running back, especially a player who's going to have some value, I think that's the way to go. I'll give one other running back because I'm not going to go running back with my pick. I'm going to go a different position, but I'll give one other running back, and I was going to see if I can bring up the odds because I don't even know what his odds are. I bet you it's way down the board. And this is a biased pick as well. But Tyler Algier, the Falcons running back, he has apparently, by all reports, been fantastic in training camp. In the first preseason game, he rushed only 3 times, got 25 carries at 25 yards at a 15 yard carry. And that's not exactly a crowded backfield, one that he could explode out of as well. So at some point, I'm going to look to see if I can find his odds, but I like that. That is it. Dameon?
I think it's Dameon. Yeah.
I like that pick quite a bit, especially at 20-1. I'm going to go with someone a little bit shorter, with a little bit shorter odds. It is a wide receiver. I'm going to go with Sky Moore from the Kansas City Chiefs here. I just truly think there's no rookie that's going into a better situation than Sky Moore. We're talking about a guy who's immediately going to get to play with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, arguably the best quarterback in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes. And he's on a team where there's no real number one wide receiver now with Tyreek Hill gone. Obviously, Travis Kelce's there at tight end. But in terms of wide receiver, I mean, you have Juju, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, you have Mecole Hardman. I mean, these guys aren't number one receivers. So Sky Moore just needs to come out and play well at the start of the season, and he could. Like, there's a world where he like immediately becomes one of the top receivers and starts receiving the most targets on the team. Jalen Watson has come out. I read a tweet today, and he said that of all the wide receivers on the team, Sky Moore is the hardest to guard. And I got a little soft spot for him because he's a fellow short king coming in at just 5'10". So Sky Moore 10-1. I just think his situation is just alone makes him worth a bet at that price.
Yeah, you talk about volume too. Like you said, he could get number one receiver type of targets. I think him and Christian Watson and Drake London all kind of have that similar where it's like they're probably going to be the guy. So if one of them pops, like they're going to launch, their odds are going to launch up the board. It's going to be like Chase last year.
Yeah, just my issue with Drake London, who I think right now, at least at WinBet, is the co-favorite along with Kenny Pickett at 7-1, is just like, who's throwing him the ball? Like, Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota? Like, I would rather take a guy, and like you could look at Christian Watson, because obviously he has, Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, but like I'd rather take a receiver who we know is going to have a competent quarterback throwing him the ball. That's why I'm kind of scared of the Jets rookie receiver too. Was it Jameson Williams? Is he the one on the Jets?
Garrett Wilson, and then George Pickens on Pittsburgh, kind of same scenario too. Like you just don't really know what the quarterback's going to be. I
did look up Tyler Algier, and I know I'm mispronouncing his name, the Falcons running back, 50-1 if you want a long shot. I don't think they're going to find an offensive rookie at 50-1 that kind of has a potential to blow up quite like him. So there's a little long shot pick for you as well. Let's get into defensive rookie of the years, which I think is a very tough award to predict and to bet on, but go ahead and give me your pick.
Yeah, it is extremely hard to pick. I'm basing a lot of this off of history. You look at the last 6 years, 4 of the last 6 winners have been pass rushers. So I'm taking Kayvon Thibodeau. He's second right now at WinBet for the Giants. I personally thought coming into this draft, I know there were, I guess, character questions. I don't really know. I thought he was the best player in the draft. I know he missed some time at Oregon last year. But I just think from a physicality, like he is just the best athlete. I think he's a better athlete than both Trevon Walker and Aiden Hutchinson. He's going to play on a decent front seven. I mean, they have Leonard Williams there with the Giants. I think he's going to get a lot of pass rushing opportunities. You look at some of the previous winners. We got Chase Young, Micah Parsons, Joey Bosa, and Nick Bosa. Those are the 4 of the last 6 that I was talking about. Like those guys all were big time sack guys. That's kind of the easiest defensive stat to rack up. Like it's very hard to predict a guy getting interceptions or tackles. Like when Darius Leonard won it, he had like 160 tackles. So I'm going to go with Thibodeau. I just think he's the most talented pass rusher in this class. But like you said, it is extremely hard to predict. So I don't mind if people want to take somebody with longer odds.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think even though it's kind of a square and they're the shortest odds, I think you kind of have to take one of the top pass rushers, Aiden Hutchinson, Thibodeau, Trayvon Walker. I'm going to take someone who's a little bit further down the odds list, just a little bit outside the box guy. I'm going to go Quay Walker, the linebacker for the Green Bay Packers, because I think he does give the Packers what they need. I mean, they drafted him 22nd overall instead of a receiver, which was by far their number one need. So they must like him quite a bit. And also the Packers are one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL last year. So you mentioned about Darius Leonard. Guys who have won this in the past, especially a linebacker, are guys who rack up 1 million tackles. And if I think there's a rookie linebacker who can do that this year, it's Quay Walker joining a team who struggled in stopping the run this year. So if he becomes a big-time run stopper for them, he could certainly rack up the tackles and win the award that way. So I'll go with Quay Walker of the Packers, 12-1.
I don't mind that play at all. I think that they're, especially with that their front seven too, like he kind of fits in perfectly there. So I don't mind that at all.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the game of the night. We got the New York Mets against the Atlanta Braves. It's a good game. Like I said, we struggled to kind of pick the game of the night tonight because there's a lot going on, but these are certainly the game between the two best teams in terms of record matchup for tonight. Two teams battling for division, the NL East. The Mets are 5.5 games ahead of the Braves, are they right now? So yeah, and we got the community poll as well. So we'll see where the community is going with tonight's game. But Peter, why don't you go ahead and give me your pick first?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Mets to win this one outright. I'm taking them on the money line, minus 130 or plus 135. I think they're criminally underrated here, Ian. I know they're on the road, but they just played this Braves team recently, and they knocked around Spencer Strider, who's starting for them tonight. Gave up 4 runs in 2 2/3 innings. Yes, the Braves have won 6 straight, but the Mets have also won 8 out of their last 10. It's not like either team is coming in playing bad baseball here. And I think Carlos Carrasco is I think he might be the better starter right now in this matchup. I know Strider is striking out a ton of guys this year. He's probably going to win National League Rookie of the Year. But at the same time, Carrasco, since the start of July, is a 1.69 ERA. He's 5-0 himself. The Mets are 7-0 in his 7 starts since then. So I kind of give the Mets the pitching edge here. I like their bullpen. Obviously, Edwin Diaz has been absolutely lights out. And they just took 4 or 5 from the Braves, when they last played. Obviously, things can change. These are 2 very good teams, but I just didn't expect the Mets to be this big of dogs. Like, it's almost like they're giving Strider way, way too much credit. So after the way he pitched against them last year and then his comments about the Mets getting lucky, I think they're up for this game. And I like Carrasco a lot. So give me the Mets on the money line.
Really quick, does Edwin Diaz have the best walkout song of closers in MLB history?
No. Mariano Rivera, Enter Sandman is the best.
I was setting you up for that. I knew you were going to say that. It's pretty good, though. You got to admit, it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. It's very solid. It gets me pumped up, but I would get more pumped up if he blew more saves for the Mets, for sure.
For sure. All right, I'm going to go with the total in this game. I'm actually going to go with the over 8 in this one. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I think the money line odds are set just about right. So I'm just going to go ahead and back 2 of the best offenses in Major League Baseball to just score some runs. Some really quick stats here. Since July 1st, they rank 4th and 5th in overall OPS. Since July 1st, they rank 4th and 5th in OPS against right-handed pitchers. Since July 1st, Mets rank 2nd in OPS on the road. And since July 1st, the Braves rank 6th in OPS at home. And the over is also 5-1 in the last 6 meetings between these teams. So I could not decide which side to go in terms of money line or run line. So let's just bet on the over and root for some runs in this one.
It's a fun way to do it. Hopefully you get some runs. All on the Mets side. Need the Mets to score all the runs.
Hey, if they win 9-0, I'm happy. The community poll results are in. It looks like Mets money line. It was a close one. I believe Braves won on the YouTube poll, but if we combine those votes with the Twitter poll, the Mets come away the victors. So you'll be doubling up your Mets pick. I will also be betting on the Mets tonight to follow the community. They are on an underdog, which makes me a little bit nervous. But yeah, those odds seem a little strange. So Mets money line, that is a community pick. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up, Peter?
No, I'm excited for this game of the night. I think I like our offensive rookie of the year and defense rookie of the year picks. I want to keep track of those. We got to make sure we stay on top of those for the whole year because I actually like what we have coming in. So got me fired up for football. Should be some fun baseball tonight. If you like pitchers duels, get the dual screen going because you're going to get a lot of good pitching tonight.
It is a very good MLB slate. Stick around because in 21 minutes, I'll be going live for Green on the Greens with Cody Williams to talk about this week's BMW Championship, the FedEx Cup playoffs, the PGA Tour playoffs, the semifinal. Season 1 of Green on the Greens is coming to a close. 2 episodes left, so stick around for that. That's going live in about 20 minutes. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. If you are watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Best of luck with all of your picks. And who's on the show tomorrow? It's not me. It's Reed and Ben tomorrow. So a new duo will be on tomorrow. And then I believe it is myself and Reed, I believe, on Wednesday. So good luck with all your bets tonight. Gambler bless. And we'll talk to y'all later.